when faith becomes bigger than fear. I recently had the privilege of sitting down with Erica Curry. And let me tell you something. This woman is changing lives, not in the loud, look at me kind of way, but in the quiet, soul shifting way that actually matters. Erica Curry is someone who understands what it means to stand at the edge of impossible and choose faith anyway. She's helping women across the country realize that their faith isn't just something they carry to church on Sunday. It's the very thing that can dismantle every mountain standing between them and their peace. She's out here doing the sacred work of reminding women that they are not alone, that they are not forgotten, and that their faith can be the foundation upon which they rebuild everything they thought they lost. And here on Soft Girl Era, hosted by me, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dolce, we're all about that sacred pause, that deep exhale, that moment when you finally stop surviving and start softening into the life you actually deserve. So today we're diving into something Erica shared with me that stopped me in my tracks. She said, your faith should always be greater than your problems. No matter what you are faced with, having faith and speaking things into existence, you will always come out on top of your challenges. Now, I know some of you just rolled your eyes. I get it. Faith talk can feel heavy when you're already carrying the weight of the world. But stay with me because what Erica is talking about isn't some fluffy, toxic positivity nonsense. This is about recalibrating your internal compass so that fear doesn't get to drive anymore. Let's be honest, men, most of us, especially us high achieving Black women between 38 and 55, we've been taught that faith is something you have after you handle everything yourself. Faith is the thing you lean on once you've exhausted every option, once you've worked yourself into the ground, once you've proven you're strong enough, smart enough, capable enough. Faith becomes the backup plan, not the foundation. But Erica flipped that script entirely during our conversation. She reminded me that faith isn't plan B, faith is the plan. And when your faith becomes bigger than your problems, something shifts. The problems don't necessarily disappear, but they stop controlling you. They stop defining you. They stop stealing your sleep, your joy, your softness. Because here's the thing, problems are loud, they're demanding, they show up uninvited and overstay their welcome. They sit on your chest at 3 in the morning, whispering all the reasons you're not enough. They follow you into meetings, into your relationships, into your mirror. Problems want you to believe they're permanent. But faith is quiet. Faith doesn't need to scream to be heard. Faith doesn't need proof to exist. Faith just is. And when you choose to make your faith bigger than your problems, you're not ignoring reality. You're refusing to let reality have the final word. Now, Erica Curry didn't just talk theory with me, she walked me through what this actually looks like in practice. And one of the most powerful things she said was about speaking things into existence, not in some magical thinking way, but in the deeply spiritual, deeply intentional way that aligns your words with your belief. See, we've been conditioned to speak our problems into existence all day long. We wake up and say, I'm so tired. We look at our bank account and say, I'm so broke. We think about our relationships and say, I'm so alone. We rehearse our pain, our lack, our fear over and over and over again until it becomes the soundtrack of our lives. But what if instead we started speaking our faith into existence? What if we woke up and said, I am held, I am provided for, I am exactly where I need to be? What if we looked at our challenges and said, this is temporary, I am resilient, I will come out on top? And I know some of you are thinking, LeAnne, that sounds nice, but I've got real bills, real heartbreak, real trauma. And you're right, you do. But here's what Erica helped me see. Speaking things into existence isn't about denying your reality, it's about refusing to let your reality define your destiny. Because when you speak from a place of faith, you're not lying to yourself. You're reminding yourself of the truth that exists beyond what you can see. You're anchoring yourself to something bigger, something steadier, something that doesn't shift when the ground beneath you does. And this is where the soft girl era really begins. Because softness isn't weakness. Softness is the radical act of trusting that you don't have to white knuckle your way through life. Softness is believing that you can release the cape, drop the mask, and still be held, still be safe, still be loved. Erica Curry is living proof of this. She's someone who has faced her own mountains, her own valleys, her own moments of wondering if she'd make it through. And yet she chose faith. She chose to speak life over her circumstances. She chose to believe that no matter what she was faced with, she would come out on top. And she did. Not because she's superhuman, not because she never struggled, but because she made her faith bigger than her fear. Now, let's talk about what happens when you actually do this. When you make faith your foundation instead of your fallback. When you start speaking things into existence instead of speaking your problems into permanence. First, you start to notice a shift in your energy. You stop feeling like you're constantly bracing for impact. You stop walking through life with your fists clenched and your shoulders up around your ears. You start to breathe a little deeper. You start to trust a little more. You start to soften. Second, you start to see opportunities you couldn't see before. Because when you're consumed by your problems, all you can see is the problem. But when your faith is bigger, you start to notice the doors that are opening, the people who are showing up, the grace that's been there all along. Third, and this is the big one, you start to reclaim your peace. Not the kind of peace that only shows up when everything is perfect, but the kind of peace that exists in the middle of the storm. The kind of peace that says, I don't know how this is going to work out, but I trust that it will. And that is the kind of peace that changes everything. Because when you have that kind of peace, you stop performing. You stop pretending. You stop carrying roles and responsibilities that were never yours to carry in the first place. You start saying no without guilt. You start setting boundaries without apology. You start resting without explanation. You start living in your soft girl era. Now, I want to be clear about something. This isn't about bypassing your pain. This isn't about pretending everything is fine when it's not. This isn't about slapping a Bible verse on a wound and calling it healed. What Erica Curry taught me and what I want you to hear today is that faith and healing can coexist. Faith doesn't mean you don't cry. Faith doesn't mean you don't struggle. Faith doesn't mean you don't ask for help. Faith means that even in the crying, even in the struggling, even in the asking, you believe that you are not alone. You believe that you are not forgotten. You believe that you will come out on top. And speaking things into existence, that's not about faking it till you make it. That's about aligning your words with the truth of who you are and whose you are. That's about reminding yourself every single day that you are more than your circumstances. You are more than your trauma. You are more than your mistakes. You are a woman of faith, and your faith is bigger than any problem you will ever face. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take a moment right now and think about the biggest problem you're facing, the thing that's keeping you up at night, the thing that feels too big, too heavy, too impossible. Got it? Good. Now I want you to say this out loud. My faith is bigger than this problem. I will come out on top. Say it again. My faith is bigger than this problem. I will come out on top. One more time. My faith is bigger than this problem. I will come out on top. Do you feel that? That's not denial. That's not delusion. That's power. That's faith. That's you choosing to speak life over your circumstances instead of letting your circumstances speak death over you. And here's the beautiful thing: the more you do this, the more natural it becomes. The more you speak from a place of faith, the more your faith grows. The more your faith grows, the smaller your problems become. Not because the problems disappear, but because you realize they were never as big as you thought they were. Erica Curry's out here doing this work every single day. She's helping women step into their faith, speak life over their lives, and come out on top of every challenge they face. She's reminding women that they don't have to carry the weight of the world on their shoulders, that they don't have to have all the answers, that they don't have to be strong all the time. She's giving women permission to be soft, to be vulnerable, to be human, and to trust that their faith will carry them through. And that's exactly what we're about here on Soft Girl Era. We're about dropping the cape, we're about redefining strength, we're about embracing softness as a radical act of self love. We're about healing in real time. We're about protecting our peace as a practice. We're about turning our survival into something sacred because you deserve to live in your soft girl era. You deserve to rest without guilt. You deserve to say no without explanation. You deserve to trust that you are held, you are loved, you are exactly where you need to be. And it all starts with making your faith bigger than your problems. So today, I want you to walk away from this conversation with Erica Curry and ask yourself one question: what would my life look like if my faith was bigger than my fear? What would I do differently? What would I say differently? What would I believe differently? And then I want you to start speaking that life into existence. Not someday, not when things get better, not when you feel ready. Right now, today, in this moment, because your faith is bigger than your problems. And no matter what you are faced with, when you have faith and you speak things into existence, you will always come out on top of your challenges. Always. That's not a maybe. That's not a hope. That's a promise. And Erica Curry is living proof. But here's the thing I need you to understand before you walk out of here today. This isn't just about you feeling better. This isn't just about you having a nice moment of inspiration that fades by tomorrow morning. This is about a fundamental shift in how you move through the world. This is about you becoming the kind of woman who doesn't just survive, but thrives. The kind of woman who doesn't just endure big, but transforms. The kind of woman who doesn't just get through, but gets over, gets up, and gets going. And the world needs that woman. Your family needs that woman. Your community needs that woman. Your legacy needs that woman. Because when you make your faith bigger than your problems, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone watching you. You become the permission slip for someone else to believe that they can do it too. You become the proof that faith isn't just a concept, it's a practice. And that practice has power. So I'm not asking you to just feel inspired today. I'm asking you to be disruptive. I'm asking you to challenge every single belief you've held about what's possible for you. I'm asking you to look at the mountain in front of you and say, my faith is bigger than this. And then I'm asking you to move, not because you have all the answers, not because you're not scared, not because you're sure it's going to work out, but because your faith demands that you try, because that's what faith is. Faith is the audacity to believe in something you can't see yet. Faith is the courage to speak life when everything around you is screaming death. Faith is the decision to show up even when you don't know how it's going to end. And that is the kind of faith that moves mountains. That is the kind of faith that shifts atmospheres. That is the kind of faith that changes everything. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, I want you to speak one thing into existence every single morning. Just one. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be true. I am worthy of rest. I am deserving of love. I am capable of healing. I am strong enough to set boundaries. I am brave enough to choose myself. Speak it, believe it, watch what happens because your faith is bigger than your problems. And when you start living like that's true, everything changes. So let's choose faith. Let's speak life. Let's come out on top, not someday, not eventually, not when it's convenient. Today, right now, in this very moment, your soft girl era is waiting. And it starts with one simple decision to make your faith bigger than your fear. Now go and don't look back.